Hello, my art-loving friends. So today is the day for gouache again. Why already? Because it's been 8 days since the moldy gouache video that I put out. And after reading all the comments in that video, I wanted to pull these out again and change some things because I left too much water in these, and I'm afraid that alone is going to cause some issues here. So let's open this up after these 8 days and see what happened. This one never had mold in it to start with, so this one still is looking fine. That's not mold, that's just contaminated paint there. There was a lot of water in here, but it was distilled water this time, so this one's fine. I mean, it's only been 8 days. It should be fine, but I am curious about this one because I did leave too much water in this one too, but I sprayed it with some alcohol. Oh, the lid stuck to the top of the lid. Ooh, interesting. Yeah, so there's mold in this blue, and I never had mold in that one before, if I'm remembering correctly. There's a little mold in the Naples yellow and the white already in these 8 days. Leaving that much water, oh, and the black again. So leaving that much water in these is not okay. Some people in the comments did tell me they go ahead and let them dry out completely and that they re-wet easily. My concern with that is, well, it's not really a concern. Oh yeah, I don't know. But if these are dry, will the wells be big enough to kind of get in there with a brush to reactivate them? Probably, I guess. So I think I'll just rewash all of this again and pull the mold out and just try and use this. I have a little painting I want to do today that will use up some of these colors, and not very much of it, I'm sure, because I actually poured quite a bit of gouache in these. I tried to fill them all the way up except for leaving space for the silicone lid, so they're pretty full. All right, well, I'll clean this up again real quick and then we'll get to painting. I want to use my Hanamule cotton sketchbook. I have a page in here that has the bottom half open, and I have a little scene I want to paint that is in my brain and is aching to come out. So something kind of silly, but I wanted to share it with you, is I got washi tape and it came in a package of, I don't know, I think maybe 5. The Christmas before this one, I bought it for giving to my girls, and there was one package out of the 5-pack left I kept for myself. And I am so excited to use it today. I know that seems silly, but I see everyone on YouTube using washi tape, and this won't be my first time using washi tape, actually, because I did pull some out of a scrapbook package that I had and I used that, but it feels like the first time. And it's very exciting. I have no idea why. I like the clouds. We're gonna use the clouds. I almost wanted to use the watermelon, but nah, we're gonna use the clouds. Aren't they cute? Hang on, you can't see them because the lighting in here is horrible right now. There we go. Cute little clouds. Hopefully it works well. Uh-oh, it doesn't seem like it's gonna stick very well. And I may have put that on there crooked. Yeah, that definitely looks crooked. Okay, this is not going well already here. 5 3/8. Wait, was that 3/8? No, that's 5 1/4. Looks are deceiving. It is correct. Please stick. Please stay down. I don't want to be all sad about washi tape not working. I want to be happy. I don't know if my brushes are small enough for this small of a picture. Look, it already peeled up over there. Bad. This is not washi tape from anyone online. It's just from Amazon. I mean, when I say anyone online, I mean a YouTuber. It's not Mirabailer's washi tape, for example. It's just from Amazon, and I don't think it's going to stick very well, but I guess we'll find out as we paint, because it's going to be, now that I put this on here, it's probably going to be another half hour to an hour before I actually start getting paint on here. And now comes the fun part, getting the sketch out of my head and onto the paper. It's kind of fun, kind of scary, but it's nice to see it all come together at the end. Now, most of the paint in this little gouache palette is Holbein. However, the ones that are molding are my engrams. So far, I haven't really had the Holbein mold. Perhaps a little bit of mold got into, because I think I had a little bit of mold on the Carmine once, and that was Holbein. But the blue that molded this time was also an engram, because I have a engram blue. It's stuck in between 2 Holbeins in that little palette. And that little rectangular palette you saw me use is From when I first received this Holbein gouache, I poured just a little bit into that palette. I did a cute little mushroom painting. I will link that video for you up in the corner above and in the description box below. And I still had all that paint left, and I've tried to use it a couple times, little times here and there. Tried to use it today, then I kind of forgot I had it over there. I don't know, I think because I needed the brown and there wasn't the brown over there maybe, I'm not sure. And then I'm like, oh shoot, I really wanted to use it out of this rectangular palette because I wanted to use it up so I could clean it out and use it for other things. But you'll see, you just don't use enough paint to use things up very quickly, at least not in a small painting like this. I really should have chosen a bigger size to do this in, but I also wanted to use this half of this sketchbook page before I got too far in the sketchbook, so it wouldn't be totally out of order in here. It's a little out of order as it is because I don't think I've worked in the sketchbook since December, but you know, sketchbooks, they're meant to be used, and half the time we end up using them out of order, so it is what it is. I am also using the Sarah Burns brushes again, trying them out, and I do love them so far. They don't have any of the problems that the Lindsay Wyrick brushes have, so I will be contacting Craft & Mo because it's not really fair to Lindsay out there that I'm saying I don't enjoy the quality of the brushes, because the sizes and effort she put into that, they're absolutely perfect, but I'm just having some trouble with the quality on that particular batch. This batch seems great. This is as far as I'm getting today, and it kind of concerned me because I dipped in the black to get some red and mix that, so the black gets really moldy, the white gets really moldy, and now I've dipped in them. So one of my commenters in the last video said to really get this all cleaned up, the whole palette needs to be completely emptied out and sterilized, and I agree with her. That's probably the case, but I cannot get myself to not use up this paint, so I'm just going to try and paint with it, pull out the mold every day as it goes, and not every day, but every time I pull it out as it goes, and go from there. I did have a friend send me the Hemi mold spray. This comes now with some of the Hemi gouache sets. They're like this set, but they have the Hemi brand on them, and she gave me some of that spray, so I have to leave this for tonight, and I'll spray this. I'm not going to spray it over this because I don't know what it'll do to my sketchbook, but I'll spray it over here. Hang on. You can hear it. Sprayed just gently. I don't want it to be too much. I clean that up, put that back on, and we'll see what it looks like in the morning, because I will be able to get back to this in the morning, which will be kind of fun. I can't wait to finish this cute little scene. It's the next day. I stacked everything here because I was using my desk. I did notice that the washi tape just doesn't like to stick. So there's that. It won't rip the paper, I guess. Let's see what the palette looks like after 12 or so hours. Ooh, see, there's a lot of moisture in here, and you can tell because this was completely dry when I put it in here. That was also completely dry, the paint on it, and it still has just weeped everywhere. And I didn't add any extra moisture to the inside of the palette other than I sprayed it once or twice with that Hemi spray. Let's see here. No new mold growth, which I wouldn't expect in only 12 hours, but you never know. It's just some color contamination. Not surprising. I'm going to shut this for a while because I'm not quite ready to paint. I have a few things to finish real quick, but I'll shut this for a while without the silicone part of the lid because there's plenty of moisture in there. And as easily as these re-wet, these are Holbein, remember, I don't feel like letting these dry some would hurt anything. I don't know how the M. Graham's re-wet after being dried out, but or this one Winsor & Newton, but I suspect it's probably fine. The point was to have them be nice and juicy every time I went to use them, but I might be beyond that in this palette. We may just let the lid stay open and go from there, although the suggestion of getting all the moldy colors out and just sterilizing this palette's a good one. I just have to use this paint up first. I know, we've already talked about that. Whatever. Enough of that. Also, because I don't think I've mentioned it, the paint in here was poured when I very, very first got the Holbein gouache colors. And I will put up on the screen how long that has been, so you know that even after all that time, and they've been sitting literally out here on my desk, no cover, nothing, they re-wet that easily. And I'm going to change the wood color there a bit. Ooh, that brush is stiff. Apparently, I need to wash these better than I do my watercolor brushes. These need a little more care after you paint with them than watercolor. And I think because I had the little palette in my hand already, I kept forgetting to pick up the ceramic palette and use it, although I kept trying to remind myself. But I also don't have that Naples yellow that I needed for the wood color over in that ceramic palette. So it does make sense why this one was in my hand most of the time. But man, it's going to take a while to use up the paint on that other palette. And I'm a paint miser. That paint is going to stay there until it is all used up, and that's all there is to it. But hey, would you look at that? I actually used it. Oh, wait, I went back to the other one so quickly. But see, I tried. And I'm putting little cobblestones in there. I thought that was kind of a fun little sidewalk detail. And it was fun to paint, especially with that little round brush that comes in that set. That was a good brush for that. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to match the sound on this voiceover with my other recordings. It's just not working. I'm having some trouble with this computer today, but look at that. I really messed up that open sign. Try and cover it with the white, but the paint consistency I had was too wet. But I eventually get it in the end, and then I go back over it later when it's drier, so that helps too. And then I was debating really hard on the color of those flower pots down there. Finally decided to just make them a light gray to start with and then figure it out later. But at least that covered the background color. I find it really fun to play with the consistency of the gouache, see how thin I can make it and still have it be opaque, because then it spreads really nicely. Or you do want sometimes the back layer to shine through, and it's just a fun medium. Like I've already mentioned, you just can play with a lot of different aspects of it and get really opaque colors, really transparent colors. And it's so creamy. At least this Holbein and Ingram and the Winsor & Newton Naples yellow, they're creamy. They're just a delight to use. I've really had a good time with this painting. Also, I do love this little palette. I thought that maybe the little tiny bit of mixing space would be annoying, and I believe if I were doing a much larger painting that I would need to bring out additional mixing space. But for a small painting like this, it seemed fine. Plus, the gouache dries so quickly on the palette itself that you can go and use the edges of where you've already mixed and work it into your existing piece. So you have plenty of mixing space options there, in my opinion. But again, this was a very small painting, so I would probably be bringing out some extra ceramic dishes if I were doing an A4 or bigger size painting. Plus, I think it also depends on the colors that you're using, if you're using a lot of different kinds of colors or if you're using similar colors. And it will also depend on if you are doing any kind of big washes, because you will need a bigger mixing space in order to get enough paint mixed up to do a big wash like that. So just, I don't know, make it work for what you need it to be. I think it's great for out on the trail, small sketchbook that you'll probably be taking with that. And you guys notice anything fun in the sign there that I just finished? Also, the camera did miss me painting the flowers, but oh well. All done for now. Good enough. See if we can get you a better look here. It's not mind-shattering or anything. It's just for fun. Before I close this up, I'll take my spray and spray it up. Probably will clean that lid off as well, because that tended to get kind of nasty last time. So I'll just dip this in some clean water. That is my tap water. I just dipped that in, I realized. So I have some distilled water over there. What I might do is just spray this with that spray, let it dry, and then close it up. But I'll spray the gouache just once. I don't want that gouache to be too wet in there. That was my first mistake last week, so just want to make sure I don't do that. Alright, I know there's still a lot of gouache in those edges and whatnot, but just give that a quick spray up there. Maybe kind of rub that around a bit. I'm going to let that, oh, you can't see them, way too close, sorry. Let that dry, and then I'll spray this down. It comes out pretty fast, so I may let that evaporate off a tiny bit as well before putting that silicone lid on. Boy, that brought up a lot more stuff on that, didn't it? I'm going to wipe the tops of these off too before I put that silicone thing on. Maybe that will help, even though that's that mold spray. It should be fine. I probably actually need it there, but it just seems like a lot. Came out rather fast. Okay, so that's spreading around. That's definitely got a different feel than water. It's kind of slippery. It doesn't smell like alcohol or pure alcohol or anything like that. It does smell different than when I used my pure alcohol, so it is some kind of different formulation in it. We'll see how that works. I still might let that dry out some, but I'll go ahead and put the silicone lid on this part for now. Squish that on there. All right, leave this open for just a little bit longer, and we'll see what happens the next time I pull it out to play. All right, guys, that was fun. Painting with gouache is really fun. It's something I think I would like to do more of here and there in the future. And I really like these brushes also, except I would like a small flat. So we have this one, but it has those pieces cut out for grasses and stuff, which is really cool, and it's really long, so you can't get like a fine edge with it. That's not the purpose of this brush anyway. So I am missing that in this lineup, just something kind of a small, flat, a little bit stiffer, but I got by using these. Look, these kind of have those same cutouts. Interesting. But I'm sure I'll get better at using them as I go and get used to them all. All right, guys, I hope you have a great day and that you paint something wonderful. I will see you in the next video. Bye for now. So there's mold in this boot. What are you doing, Mr. Jack? You're upside down. Mr. Jack. Mr. Jack. Ah! I see you.